Hello. Are the Illuminati all psychopaths? They may be. A lot of people think they are these days because they will do the most terrible things for selfish reasons, which is psychopathic. Psychopaths are mentally ill people who can appear, and usually do appear, completely normal. They actually can only experience anger or fear, though, negative emotions. They can't experience care for others or sympathy or love or anything like that. They usually gravitate, if they can, towards wealth and power because they're just very selfish people, basically. They wouldn't really bother with anything like charity work unless, again, it suited them or was in their interests somehow, you know. So a lot of people think that people who, for example, start wars for oil are psychopaths. People who don't save the world when they can by switching to green energy because they own a lot of oil interests and would rather start wars for oil, they're psychopaths. People like that, you know. Well, anyway, are the Illuminati all psychopaths? Probably. A lot of people might think they're in the Illuminati who aren't really. The people who actually run it probably all are psychopaths. Apparently, psychopaths can recognize each other and work together. Well, people like that won't want normal people who are capable of any compassion or have any scruples to have power. I think Louis Mountbatten, Lord Louis Mountbatten, was once supposed to have said of Hitler that he was an idiot because he had scruples, something like that. They actually thought Hitler had scruples. Maybe they actually went to war against him because he had scruples, because he was normal. Before you start thinking I'm a bit nuts, can I just say that Stalin killed 20 million more people than Hitler did. Stalin was a massive killer. And it wasn't okay. He killed people for prejudiced reasons as well. Maybe not racism, but for other reasons of prejudice. He killed them for having a bit of money because they'd gotten somewhere in life. Well, most people were so poor in Russia, if you'd gotten anywhere, you must have been really glad to have done so. And it would have been very hard to have gone back to the poverty most people were kept in by the Russian royal family. And when Stalin needed to get rid of people, he just killed them by the million anyway, by the 5 million apparently. Anytime there were too many people to cope with, he just sent out an order to kill another 5 million, or to kill them by the 5 million, and then report back to him. That's the truth. Okay, so anyway, that's apparently what Lord Louis Mountbatten said about Hitler. So in other words, they thought Hitler was soft. They probably would have understood or appreciated Stalin more. I think Stalin survived the Second World War, didn't he? Yeah. And they gave him a big chunk of Germany as a reward. So we are ruled by psychopaths. And anyway, you should look up Thomas Sheridan's videos on psychopaths. They're very interesting. Also, you'll find some videos about Jimmy Savile, an English entertainer who died recently, being a psychopath. It turns out he was a paedophile and supplied a lot of children in children's homes to rich and famous people. Some people even think maybe the royal family, because there's so many photos of him with them, and apparently he spent Christmas with them at least once, I think it was, maybe more. And not many people get to do that. So he must have been pretty close to them. And David Icke, in one of his videos, says Lord Louis Mountbatten was a paedophile. So we're run by paedophile. We're run by psychopaths. And a lot of people are starting to realize this and realizing what a really appalling situation it is, because it means that normal people, a world full of normal people, a world is being run by mentally ill people, the most dangerous kind of mentally ill person, the psychopath. So how many are there? Well, let's take a look at America. I think there are 80 million people in America. And apparently, Thomas Sheridan thinks that there are 4% of psychopaths in the normal population. I don't know if this varies by race or whatever. Maybe it does. I find black people more violent than white people, and violence is a big psychopathic trait, a big trait of psychopathy. But anyway, 4% of 80 million is 3.2 million. So America has 3.2 million psychopaths. It's a very serious situation. So apparently, a lot of rich and famous people are psychopaths, and that will include powerful people. A lot of people think Bill Clinton is, and Obama, and both of the Bush presidents. And so the world is run by psychopaths, really, because America is the most powerful country in the world, and it's run by psychopaths. Apparently, you don't actually even get a chance at being in power until you're under the control of the Illuminati. And they get that control by filming you in compromising situations so they can control you with blackmail. And the thing they do, most of all if they can, is film you committing child abuse. If this is true, and it may well be, we have some wicked people in this world, psychopathic people. Right? So if this is true, then all the people we can vote, we are commonly aware of being able to vote into power, are psychopathic pedophiles under the control of the Illuminati, who are apparently Satanists. Illuminati means light ones, illuminated ones. And that's a reference to Satanism, who was Lucifer, light, before he fell from heaven. So they're Satanists. So the world is ruled by Satanists. So what we have to do is vote for people who are not commonly known to us, who are not in the power system, at which point we'll probably find various unusual means being taken to control us, which we can take as signs that the Illuminati are real and are not going to allow us our freedom from them. We may even get attacks on the populace. Let's remember, Stalin did an awful lot of harm to his people. Kings got their powers by harming the population, beating them into submission, making their countries bigger and bigger by conquering others. So I could go on for a long time, obviously. The point is, though, that we need to be prepared to look outside of the institutionalized power structure, because it's controlled by the Illuminati. And we need to realize that there are millions of them in every country. 4% of 80 million, for example, is 3.2 million. That's in America alone. Basically, what we have to do is look to ourselves, maybe localize more, not look to the central power structures to control us. I wouldn't say go for localized government, because that just increases the number of seats on councils available, requiring more and more money for you to finance attempts to gain control of those seats. It would be much better to actually break down into smaller countries, and then with smaller governments you would have more chance with less money of getting a seat. Say you were trying for just one seat, it would cost £5,000 maybe. If you were trying for, if you lived in a bigger country and they increased government, saying it was more democratic to localize lots of smaller governments locally to you, that would require you, in order to get more power, other than just one little local seat, to find £5,000 times 100 or 1,000. Much better to knock down into smaller countries, divide up into smaller countries, and have just 10 seats, and then everyone only has to find £5,000 to get one, to get a tenth of the power in government, for example. Other than that, psychopathy is genetic, and it can be seen on brain scans. So I don't think people should be allowed to be in power unless they've had a brain scan and are not psychopathic. And that includes any kind of power, because these people are very dangerous. Maybe even the power of being an employer should be disallowed to them. Also, parents should be allowed to have a genetic test of embryos to see if they're psychopathic, so they can choose ones that are not psychopathic and deselect the ones that are psychopathic. This is a very serious situation, and it really does need to be treated as such. We need to rid the world of psychopaths, not let them rule it. Thank you. Bye.